I'm that girl who absolutely knows that actions speak louder than words. And while many people want to have participation awards for just being here, being of service, or just living here, and that they want that to be enough, chances are, if you are seeking out spiritual information or metaphysical information, you're trying to align yourself and attune yourself to your life mission and purpose. We know that there are many advanced light beings here who have chosen, probably quite cleverly, to not awaken at this time. They've done evacuations of planets before. They know it is extraordinarily challenging for those people who are not wanting to have faith or trust. So, we can fully respect their life contracts, right? And potentially we would do that next time. But this lifetime, clearly, this is not what we're doing. We are awoken to all of the manipulations and the agendas that are not helping humanity to evolve. And so we are here to help humanity evolve. And when we are trying to do that for humanity, we actually have to do it for ourselves first. So that is the next thing, isn't it? Because while we say, oh, we're so special, oh, we are so special, we're gifts to humanity, we actually have to be. And so those are words saying and giving yourself labels, but what are you doing with it? What are you doing with your CV of spirituality? How are you going about your days promoting and actually applying and doing and being that light worker? And we see so many people promoting who they are, special little beings here. But apart from the actual words and the self-promotion, what's next? What actually else do you do? Now we know that many people do light work when they're sleeping because, they have freedom and flexibility. They're not holding themselves back with doubt. They're not holding themselves back in fear of speaking their truth and speaking their mission here. So it's best for them just to be able to do and transmute their energy and do that stuff while in sleep state, because consciously their egos are either too busy being big to actually be of service or too busy being small to actually be of service. And so it takes some time, doesn't it, to be able to find your balance there and neutral and actually be of service. And instead of just bragging about who you are in other lifetimes, be that now. Because we actually don't have that much time to be that now. And so many people have confessed to me, I don't actually want to start being better and being more of service, because then I will feel really guilty of all the times I just neglected and didn't give a shit about humanity. That's a choice. It's absolutely a valid choice too. So is that it for some of you? Are you not wanting to step up and be of service because then you're going to feel like you regret all the times that you wasted those opportunities to empower others and yourself to be able to help the evolution? Because we know that fear is so tempting, isn't it? Fear is just such a great excuse to do your homework. I'm too afraid right now, so I can't possibly do my inner work because, that looks hard and this is really easy. And this is really trendy right now, being in fear. Everyone's in fear. Everyone's posting memes about certain countries being attacked by other bigger countries, which is still the same country. It's all distractions, isn't it, my friends? And we can be fully distracted. And then when we look back at our 3D lives, looking back at what information we know, what we know in sessions is coming, what we know we're going to reflect back on, do us a favor and imagine you being on New Earth now. And imagine we go today. We're not. There's so much more things that need to happen to give people more experiences, more lessons, and more opportunities to explore and release and overcome karma that they've chosen for their life experiences and contracts. But just imagine right now, if you just could sum it up right now, looking back on your life and your choices now from what you've done now, on the new earth, given that you know that there is the new earth, given that we can't not shift. I mean, you could not go to new earth, but you're still going to be looking back at this life review. So what would you be thinking about yourself and your actions and choices when you look at your life review, as if you were going to have that review today? It's uncomfortable, isn't it, for some people to think about, because they're like, oh, well, I haven't really kind of started doing that self-love thing. And that's fine. You can start doing it today. Because as soon as you know you've got the choices to behave and to have those feelings and to step up and all that sort of stuff, as soon as you remember it's on you to start doing that, to start truly loving yourself, to start truly honoring yourself and knowing the difference between who other people, if they can love you, or if they've still got so much inner work and damage that they can't love themselves, let alone you. And so while you're trying to distract yourselves to force other people to love you, focus on your own self-love, focus on your own inner work, focus on your own childhood, teenagehood, and the life you've created for yourselves now. Because your life is a summary of all of your choices up to today. Your choices. Your choices. And so since you've chosen to be at where you are right now today, what choices are you going to be making for the future? This afternoon, tomorrow, now? Whatever you choose, will you be okay when you look back at this moment in time and see what choices you made next? You can't change what you have or haven't done to this point now, but you absolutely can empower and step up to next. So what is going on there for you? What's the resistance? People are like, well, we don't really know if the new earth is real. Okay, that's cute. Have a session for yourself. Prepare yourself in earnest. Ask your questions in your sessions, because that is the best way for you to be able to understand what the new earth is, what your life purpose is. I don't say these things just for shits and giggles. I'm sincere. You need to have your sessions. Imagine the whole world having their sessions where they get to have the veil lifted out for a little bit while their SC, their subconscious, gas bags and gossips about your choices coming here, your purpose for coming here, your reasons for being here, the connections of those who are here, and what you're supposed to be doing for each other, with each other, to each other. And so remembering we're here for humanity, and that this isn't our big deal 3D, this is their big deal 3D. And so many people can't see beyond their own needs because they haven't even met their own needs yet. They haven't even considered that they are the ones that are supposed to love themselves. They're the ones that are supposed to praise themselves. Give yourself a participation award if you need to be. And I know so many big light workers that are expecting humanity to praise them and clap for them now, when they haven't actually done anything now. You actually need to start doing things to be of service, to actually be able to get the recognition and the attention and the praise of others first. It's a journey and it's definitely choices, but we all can step up and be more. And if we are knowing this information, it's significant. You don't just get given or get to be exposed to the new earth information just for a novelty factor. You get given this information because it's to inform you, to remind you, to open up your keys of activation, to remember why you are here and the significance and purpose of it now. It's not an accident that you got to hear these sessions. It's not an accident at all. It is purposeful. It is to activate many of you. And I'm very impressed and proud with those people who have stepped up. It's profound. And I know it's not a race, but it is interesting choices, those who choose to not do anything about it, but yet then have the audacity to say, oh, it's too hard. I'm so worried. I'm so unfair. Poor me. I didn't realize this life would be so hard. But it's like, well, what do you expect when you're dining in the dessert buffet of density of fear? This is the point where they want to say that I haven't been dining in the buffet density of fear, and I haven't I haven't, I've been sugar-free for quite some time. And just because when I started being sugar-free, I still was a little fat cupcake. And so I had to continually be sugar-free for quite some time. And so when I was being sugar-free, I started losing the weight. I ate my emotions. That first year of hearing about the shift to the new earth, I was like, F it. If I'm going to not be in this body for much longer, I'm just going to stuff my face silly. And I did. I obscenely did. I gorged on food that is the most revolting food ever. I ate my feelings and I just packed on the weight because I was holding emotions to my body. I wasn't releasing it. I was in panic. I was in worry. I was in fear of learning this information because I couldn't see all of the pieces, all the purposes, all the significances. And it took me quite some time to be able to find my balance and neutral with it, to understand and accept it. I had that whole journey of doubt, denial, nitpicking, second triple guessing it, arguing with subconsciouses, crying with subconsciouses, begging subconsciouses, all with my fantastic 3D ego to try and make sense out of it. Because I wanted that information to be 100% wrong. I wanted it to be a joke. It's not a joke. It's the biggest serious conversation that we can have. And we know most people can't have it because it just sounds too much, too next level. What do you mean evacuating a whole planet? That sounds a lot, and it is a lot. So I'm not trying to say it was easy for me. I ate my fucking feelings like I could swear a lot about how I approached it. And, I have to accept that, when I realized that I was leaving the body, couldn't take this body with me, and that it was going to be my crystalline body, and crystalline bodies don't have fat, I gave up on this carbon-based body. I gave up maintenance of this carbon-based body because I was trying to separate and sever my emotions with it. Because that's all I could do. That's the best I could do to cope with it. So the saying, because I made those choices to stop abusing my body and stop poisoning it with a whole lot of crap, I started losing the weight. But it wasn't an overnight thing. It was choices and actions and knowing that those sugary treats were not good for me at all. In fact, they were just feeding my inner child. And then the more I did my inner work and healed that inner child, the more I realized I was actually poisoning that inner child too. Because that inner child doesn't need sugar. That inner child needed love and support and encouragement and all of that stuff that it had been neglected with, or the perception of neglection. So there is lots going on there, but now after, many consistent choices to not have that diet, to not have that lifestyle, and now I can fit into my skinny jeans. Yay. But it doesn't feel jazz handsy still, does it? Because, I don't have the attachment to the body. I can respect the body and I can honor the body because it's my vessel to have this soul journey, to have this journey for my soul. So, there's still lots of work to have everything in balance. It's a lot. It's not just a few things. I know that the subconscious was saying, oh, well, he's got, 1,000 balls. And I termed them as like tennis balls. He has 1,000 balls that he's juggling all at once with two little puny hands. So take that as you will. And I almost want to say, but don't we emotionally and intellectually have thousands of balls that we are also juggling with our 3D lives and the routines and who we are in 3D and what we're supposed to be doing with our jobs and our family members and our routines that way, and then also have all of this information about what's coming next and why and how. It's a lot for us, isn't it? So I understand that sometimes we try to juggle, it falls down and we think, F it, I'm never going to bother with that again. And the teams are wanting me to remind us all that it's okay to sort of fumble. Absolutely is okay to fumble. But when we know we're supposed to make other choices to step up and get back into practice and continually try and put effort in, instead of thinking it's someone else's job to play with these balls. Okay. So there's that. Oh, I feel so dense. But it's not, it should be, we should be congratulating each other. We're here to be of service because humanity needs it. We have stepped up. And when you take on this role, so it's kind of like this, isn't it? The planning these lives and the saying, okay, so we need these amount of people doing this job, but these amount of people doing that job, these amount of people doing this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And when you've signed up to do that, fantastic. But when you come down and you don't do that, then it kind of puts strain on the rest of everyone else. And so this is why we really have to step up and make sure we're of service, doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. And so some of you are buying into too much density, so then you can't be of service. And so, this is definitely not a tough love conversation. This is just let's be honest. We have to make sure that we're not being part of the problem, we're part of the solution for what we're supposed to be doing. And when you know that you're not engaging with people and loving people and supporting people because they're too dense and cactusy, we can understand that, right? Totally, we can understand that, but we're supposed to be the bigger, mature souls here to support humanity here. And most of those who are really struggling with it all and finding it really hard, they are humanity. They're original. This is their first time mastering 3D. They still haven't got there. They've got so many other lifetimes of baggage sitting there waiting for them to be done and dealt with. And so they're going through all this trauma from other lifetimes, but living through it today. So their density is matched. And it seems like we have to have this new density to be able to heal the old density. So you have to have new traumas that will trigger the same range of emotions, because it doesn't have to be the same events, does it? Because it's just emotions we play with in the 3D, and we're trying to master the 3D. So we get the same density, we get the same range of emotions, whatever that may be, and then we match that like for like, and then we grow and heal from it if we have enough support. If we have enough people loving us and supporting us and encouraging us, things are going to be okay. It looks really scary, but just don't buy into future fears. And for all those people that are stocking up on iodine because they're afraid of radiation poisoning when we have apparently another nuclear event, first of all, we've asked so many times about nuclear weapons, and we know that they are offline. We know that our teams have taken our technology away from us because we are just children running with scissors at this stage. So we can't have that, thank goodness. So we've already done that, haven't we? We've already done our dash with nuclear weapons. And that's when we got big attention from all our collectives, because it's always a problem when planets in 3D start finding this technology, because we are so ego-based and so 3D-based. We're not responsible for others, let alone ourselves at this point. So there's that. So we've already asked 1,000 million times that question about nuclear war, and we've always been given the same very firm answer. So if you can trust the sessions and the information and apply the information, you should already know the answers about what's happening and moving forward. And when you know the whole planet needs to be evacuated, it means the whole planet will be affected some way. So when it is your turn to be affected, do not suddenly lose your head thinking that this is something off script and no one's ever talked about it before. The whole planet needs to be evacuated, the whole planet. the whole planet, your country, your neighborhood, your house, you. And if that suddenly scares the shit out of you, go back and listen to some sessions and conversations with Heaven on Earth, because it's mansplained to bejesus, in my opinion, right? So there's that. And of course, I don't do these videos for any other purpose, but to be able to help you and get you moving forward and remember your purpose and life missions here. And many of you are distracting yourselves, and I understand, it's fine, that's a choice. But it feels like your teams are like, get in there, Joe, tell them, shake them up a little bit. And I'm like, well, this is just, really charming, because they always fucking shoot the messenger. So, there's that. But, I come from love, guys. I understand the emotions. So many people complain to me, oh, they don't know how hard it is here. Yeah, they do. They do. And they know how hard it is because of our choices. And so remembering the simple things, it's not hard. 3D lives and 3D planets are about emotions and how to balance them and how to overcome them and find your neutral and balance. Can I say balance a few more times? It's hard. It absolutely is hard when you make those choices to feel and find density. But we know that some of us have had to be washed over with density to be able to transmute it. So, if you're down, if you have an experience, if you have a wave of density that lasts on you more than a few hours or a day, you're playing with it. I'm not saying stop playing with it. With love, stop playing with it. You can identify that emotion really well. You can acknowledge it. Start labeling your emotion. Start labeling how you feel. Start talking to yourself. Imagine you're talking to me, if you will. I will totally love you and support you when you're having an imaginary conversation with me about your feelings, your thoughts, and how you're going to overcome yourself through it. It's totally okay. What's happening to humanity is totally not okay. It's horrific. It's horrible. It has to end. It has to stop. They have to evolve. But they're having big, big, big exposures to lots of density and lots of traumas that they have created many other times in many other lifetimes. And this is it. This is the purging, the squeezing out of all of that density and all of that trauma from all of those other lifetimes, so they can complete their karmic lessons and cycles. It is all okay. All is well suddenly hasn't stopped being all is well. I can guarantee you and promise to you now, if suddenly things are not all as well and big changes have happened, I would be telling you. I'm not going to be hiding from you. I'm going to be telling you the utter absolute information that I get. I'm not going to ignore it, but everything that is happening on this planet now has already been discussed in sessions. This is the challenges that they have to experience for their last scene on the earth. It's opportunities for them to awaken. It's opportunities for them to heal from past traumas. It's opportunities to empower themselves. It's opportunities to complete karmic cycles with others. It's big. It's big stuff. And doesn't it feel big? It really does. And so there's waves of energy that come through. Everything's significant and important. So I'm not going to poo-poo anyone worrying and being in fear, because potentially you are just potentially you're working through that density to help those beings. But sometimes people just want to have an excuse to feel like crap and density. They're almost addicted to the density, almost addicted to the drama. So that those are the kind of people that love watching the news, love watching truthers. And so they feel like they're completely up to date with all this worry and doom and gloom without discussing the actual truth of what's happening and why. And all you need to remind yourself of is that for humanity in general, they're going to New Earth. And for many others, they finally get to finish their missions here and go home. because they're pretty sick of these choices that humanity is making to distract themselves. But then again, humanity is victims to this because there are many beings wanting to distract humanity into density. It works out well for them. So who are you working for? Are you working for the collectives that are helping humanity to liberate them and evolve them? Or are you working for the collectives to add more density to humanity and handbrake the crap out of them in the evolution? Because many of you don't realize that your choices that you're making are actually handbraking humanity. So there's that. It's a choice. And I'm certainly not judging. It's complete observations from people's demeanors and attitudes and approaches. And so again, once you realize the power that you contain, the power that you wield, what are you going to do with it? And so it's just reflections, isn't it, on perceptions of that. So many of you are kind of pissed off that you're even here, that you're kind of sabotaging humanity, which is an interesting thing. And, you know, that's well viewed from your collectives. Your subconscious is watching you constantly, seeing your choices. And so, you know, there's that as well. But those people who are tripping over themselves and tripping over others, you know, in the 3D, it's not going to look so easy for you, is it? So, you know, it's again, all choices, but everyone will get to know. And what seems to be very interesting is when people get to the new earth and they see and remind themselves of their life contracts and who was supposed to help them and activate them, and they didn't do it. You know, there's a lot of conversations that happen. And while there is no judgment, you know, everyone has to be responsible and is responsible for their own choices and actions. And so actions do speak louder than words. Absolutely, they do. And I think so many people who don't have faith and trust, I always try to say those words together, frustrating. Anyway, for those people who have faith and trust, they know that the new earth is happening, and that they know that they're going to have to, you know, have their consequences and have their responsibilities. You know, they have to be accountable. And so it seems like a lot of people who don't want to step up, they don't have that trust and faith that the new earth is happening, or even other dimensions, or even other reviews of life contracts and things like that. So it's almost like, it's like Jeffrey Epstein, isn't it? When he thought he could get away with all of his grossness in the 3D, he didn't think that there was going to be any consequences at all. And when I channeled him in, before he even could speak, he was yelling at me saying, I had no idea about reincarnation. He had himself so set up to live his most skeeviest life. And he loved that because he didn't think he would ever have any repercussions. And now his soul nearly was breaking because he was having to relive his life review. And from his soul's perspective, he was ashamed of himself. Well, there was some life contracts there. It wasn't all. It was not all. And so, you know, I'm not saying any one of you is that revolting at all, but you don't escape your choices here. You have to then live them out and be responsible for whatever choices you've made. And that goes for everybody. And this is why I think, would have been so nice to be sleepy this lifetime, right? Super. You're not responsible for anything because you're completely an idiot to everything. And you just, you know, doing your 9 to 5 and playing golf on the weekends. You know, that sounds like a great cup of tea lifetime for me right now, doesn't it? So there's that. Oh goodness, isn't this cheerful? Sorry guys, you know, this is a time where we need to pull our socks up. And if you don't want to talk to anyone and you don't want to be of service, totally cool, fine. I understand that. Just go within. Just spend some time going within, imagining your new earth, imagining how that life would be, and imagining all the positive things. So even if you just lift up your vibrations, that would be, great help. It would be utterly great help. Instead of worrying for humanity, when you worry for humanity, you're adding more density in for humanity. So have faith and trust for humanity, love humanity, so you don't have to actually deal with anyone to be of service, but you must be responsible for your perceptions and your mindsets. And if you're sitting here quietly, bitter, hating humanity, judging the shit out of them, can you see how that's not helping them? Even if, no one would know that you secretly are, wishing for their demise. Because you're sick of this, you want to go home. I understand that. But while we're here, we must be respectful and be responsible for our choices. And we can totally do that. So release your worries for humanity, release your responsibilities for humanity. You can't save them. You can just love the shit out of them. Like, seriously, love them. Respect all, love all countries. Just consider all countries for a while. Many of you can only consider your own precious country. And that's fine. That's valid. But there is a whole lot of other stuff out there, isn't there? There's a whole world there waiting for you to love it and stop ignoring it. And, just being able to just send some good energy. And it actually isn't work when you go within and just send love, because it actually uplifts you as well. There is a benefit. It's a payoff. It doesn't just take from you. Worrying and judging for humanity definitely takes from you. And so we have acceptance, we trust all life contracts, and we go with the flow. We know everything is purposeful. We know everything is lessons and experiences in the 3D to master emotions. It really is that simple. But when we want to nitpick into the details of all little facets of what's going on for the Great Awakening, yeah, that can definitely distract us. Definitely can distract us. So definitely go within and really honor yourself. Really respect who you are and what importance you are right now being here. Knowing the information you know, knowing what is to come, and knowing that you being of service is going to help so many other beings, so many other people. I feel like sometimes you forget because you feel so like useless and worthless that you don't think that anything that you do, if you did raise your vibrations and loved humanity, would be enough. And you all feel like you're so alone in some respects, but you're not. You're not. So that's inner work. Overcome that trust that when you go within and when you call upon your teams to spread love and release anything that no longer serves you and identify any of your density areas to purge that out to be a bigger vessel of higher frequency, you're going to be a powerhouse instantly. But you have to do it regularly. You can't just do it once and then think you can get into your skinny jeans. It doesn't work like that. I've tried. So it takes diligence. It takes time. It takes work to get that routine, to have that faith, to have that trust. It is impacting. So please just put a little reminder on your phones and do it regularly. You may not want to do it regularly, so then just do it smaller amounts. Then you will realize that you enjoy being in that balance. You enjoy being in that meditative state, and that you want to do it and you want to do it longer because it's a good distraction from all the dramas that you seem to be looking into and playing with. Potentially, allegedly. So anyway, I love you guys so much. And I'm sorry if this is a tough love message, but for those who are ticking off all of the boxes and saying absolutely in sincerity, yeah, I'm doing that, Joe, I'm doing this, Joe, I'm doing that, Joe, got it. Well done. Because as you know, it does take diligence. It does take effort to actually get there. So This is a group team effort. We're all wanting to step up. And if I know I'm trying to do this and I know you're trying to do this, how fantastic. That's a reward in itself to know that we are doing it together. We are being of service together. And then, we can finally get those gold stars, right? Okay. Love you guys. Remember to reach out if you need more support in any way. I know it can be really challenging, but sometimes it's just a different perspective that you just need to be reminded of to be able to have that key to release whatever is, hanging on for you. So don't be shy. I'm here to really help activate you and motivate you and remind you that if you're listening to these videos, you are very big powerhouse who needs to have that support and love and encouragement and reminder that you are so powerful and helpful to humanity when you are of service. It's not actually that complicated to be of service. So there's that. Okay, friends, have a fantastic rest of your day. Drink lots of water. Remember to ask for that water to be loving you and releasing any density for you, and to be able to help guide you to the best perceptions and mindsets available for you. Use that water, use your guides, talk to them constantly, ask them for help and support. Remember, they will give you what you need, not always what you want. Okay, I love you. Have a fantastic day.